Hey, welcome to He Say, She Say Live. This is Shar. I'm so blessed to be back with you this week. And I am wanting to first open up by saying thank you for all of you who have been supporting, who have been joining, those of you who have been sharing and kind of spreading the word about the conversations we're having here. Because the heart of what we're doing is we are having the conversations that a lot of men are having with men and a lot of women are having with women, but bringing those concerns and those frustrations into one platform where we could be respectful and where we can hear one another so that we can find the truth and find a path towards healing our families, namely our community. So yes, I'm speaking to the Black community, and here today I'm really honored to bring on a very special guest to talk about our shared passion for the Black community and our families. And joining me today is Mr. Askia Muhammad. Now, I want to tell you a couple of things about him because he is just a gem of a person. And what you'll be hearing from us today will be a continuation of many conversations that he and I have shared. So, first of all, he has been married for 35 years to his wife, and they share 4 children together. Now, get this, they have raised 128 foster kids. They've fostered 128 kids and have sent many of them to college and to vocational school. And he'll tell you a little bit more about that. And he worked for a very long time, more than 25 years, over at the Veterans Affairs in their security department. And he has studied, he is a scholar in his own right. Like what I love about Mr. Muhammad is that he is a man who really is a truth seeker. He wants information, he wants facts, and he will check you on the facts. And so he has a very interesting family legacy as well. And his family members, Levi Pearson and Hammett Pearson, in 1946 were the ones who actually started the case Brown versus Board of Education, that very big case. And also there were some other cases combined with it that he shared, Briggs versus Elliott. And the Brown versus Board of Education was built upon these facts and the details that his family brought to, I want to say Thurgood Marshall. He can correct me if I'm wrong, but just an amazing family legacy. And to me, I really think he missed his calling as an attorney. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Brother Muhammad up. And welcome, Brother Muhammad. I'm so blessed to have you here. We are live. And so I'm going to have to ask you first to, forgive me for like my lack of like really being savvy on this app, but I hope that we got it accomplished. Also one other piece of housekeeping. So as y'all were able to see last week, I do not do well with reading the comments. And maybe, one day soon we'll have someone who can be on live to kind of help be my eyes for me and tell me so I can hear comments or questions. So if you want to call in, and this call is going to be for the ladies because once again, this is family coaching. So I'm going to have Brother Muhammad speaking on behalf of the men from the men's perspective. So tonight, ladies, if you want to call in and you want to give a woman's perspective in response to anything Brother Muhammad is saying, please give me a call. The number is at the bottom on the ticker. It is 678-210-8778. So that way we can get you on the phone and I can hear what you're saying and I can respond audibly because me and the visual is just not working. So if you help a sister, I will help you. So thank you so much. So Brother Muhammad, welcome.
Yes. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Sister Char. I'm good seeing you again.
Yes, likewise, man. I really miss, our ongoing conversation. It's something real special when you have intellects, just get together and just start reasoning.
Yeah.
and and I really do. I really do consider you a scholar. I know a lot of times in our culture here in the United States, people want to see you have certain kind of degrees and all of these letters behind your name, but I find you to be someone who is in your own right searching out the facts, looking for information, wanting to be informed. Is there anything else you want to share with our viewers just about your background before we kind of dive into the question of happy wife, happy life?
Oh, that's going to be interesting. But some of my background, as I stated before when we first met, I spent some time in Cairo, Egypt. I spent some time in Dimona, Israel, and Liberia, which were a study for me. And it wasn't necessarily for me to get any type of so-called a Western concept degrees. It was for my own personal growth because I needed to add that personal growth in terms of seeking the truth for me and for me to move on without all of the bells and whistles of what certain institutions want us to have. And besides, not only that, I did not want to sit in a classroom where they're going to dictate and how you should think in the process of their thinking abilities, in the process of certain feedback, because I know they're going to, a lot of times in the schools of so-called higher learning, they're going to twist some of the facts. And so let's say, for instance, when you go to the root of their information, and then you look at the scholarship from the people who actually experience that information, those are the people I want to be in contact with.
Absolutely. And one of the things that bothers me so much, Brother Muhammad, is how it seems like our culture with each generation it's like less and less ability to think critically, and that's kind of like the issue with higher learning. It's like a lot of times, yes, you have a degree, but are you thinking or are you regurgitating? And that's what I love about our conversations. You are a thinker, and I just want this audience to be able to enjoy and appreciate the way that you watch. I've been describing you to a couple of brothers. In fact, I'm like, Mr. Muhammad, he's a people watcher. He
Mm-hmm,
watches.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He watches. He sees pattern, and then he gonna throw the test at you. So, one of the earliest conversations that we had, right, was about how Black women um treat you. Would you like to kind of unpack that a little more about some of the observations that you have personally experienced and witnessed when it comes to the way Black women approach you or speak to you or regard you as a Black
Yes,
man?
yes, yes, yes. And me, you had that conversation many, many, many times. Okay, because when I was the director of security at a special place where you're located, your office is located. That I had a lot of different. I had some issues with some of our sisters coming in the building, and a lot of times, they used to walk past me. But let me, before I get to that, I want to say my age first. Okay, I'm 72 years old. Okay, so I'm going back since 1951, and so when I look at that perspective of who I am, and really gathering information and watching people, you see, because a lot of times people will think the fact that your eyes are lying to you. No, they are not. Okay, but anyway, some of the sisters used to walk by. This here in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, where they wouldn't even speak to me. I would say good morning, good morning, good morning, and they would just walk by, throw their head up, and I'm like, hey, sister, what's up with that? Okay, because when you begin to disrespect me, guess what? You're disrespecting your daddy, maybe your grandfather, and other Black men who are responding to you in a positive way. And my position is the fact that I don't want to hit on none of you, okay, because I'm happily married, okay. And the fact of the matter is that what is the problem in terms of you don't want to speak when someone is giving you a positive greeting from Almighty God? Okay. But a lot of them will say, you know what? I'm Christian. I'm Christian. Oh, really? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So my point with that is the fact that they're saying that they're Christian, but you think Jesus would have walked by? If I would give him a greeting, he would say shalom. Okay, in Arabic, we say assalamu alaikum. In English, we say peace be unto you. So when they do that, I'm like, okay, okay, sister, there's some
That's
issues with you.
that's one thing that like early in you and myself beginning to just have these exchanges, from one generation to the next, from a brother to a sister. You made it real clear on the front. You was like, look, sis, and for me, I see you as a sister. I'm not coming for you any kind of sideways. Like, I really
Mhm.
appreciated that. Like you set the record straight on that. So like don't get it twisted. I'm just having a conversation with you as my sister, somebody that's in my community. Do you find that that's something that, or do you believe that that's something that's kind of playing in the back of the mind of Black women? What are your thoughts about that?
I think so. I think, to a certain degree, okay. But what they misunderstand is the fact that what type of choices have you made? What type of people have you been around? Maybe who treated you like a nightclub dancer or a nightclub figure, okay. So now you may have this negative point of view, in terms of how a black man may come to you and just say hi to you, okay. So I always ask the question, do you have the ability to distinguish when someone is trying to hit on you or someone who's actually being kind to you? Okay. Apparently, a lot of them sisters who was in that building says, when you discussed it many times, I don't think they did. Okay. But I still did what I had to do, in terms of reading. And you know what? I'm from the old school, in terms of if I walk past you, say if I'm going to lunch, for instance, and I see you sitting at that desk, I'm going to offer you, hey, sis, what you want? Okay, can I get you something? Can I even a cup of water, whatever? Okay, and the fact of the matter is that we have gotten away from that. Okay, where we don't even approach each other and say, hey, you know what, sis or brother, I'm going to lunch. What can we get for you? Now I'm going back some time, okay, because when you did mention Brown versus the Board of Education, okay, and you were absolutely right by Thurgood Marshall. I'm getting to a point with that, okay, was the fact that guess what? We used to, my dad was a mason bricklayer. Okay, he built some of the steel furnaces to melt steel, so the United States could be a power for in the steel industry in the world. But my point is, okay, the money that my dad made and what we did, we went back down south, South Carolina, and we made sure that our family members had certain things that they need for everyday living. And so my point with all of that is the fact that did we forget how to do that? Okay, just to walk past Sister Shar and say, you know what, sister, hey, what can I do for you today? Okay,
Yes,
make you have a better day today. Okay, instead of
yes.
throwing my nose up, and this is on the truth. Okay, you know how I used to open elevators for the ladies to come in? I say, hey, can I help you with this? They just say, no, I got it. Oh,
So why do you think that is? Like, let's talk about that. Like, why do you think that is though? And I I'm kind of like wanting to. I want to take our time getting into some of the issues about what we recently spoke about with the statistics, and I want you to run
oh
with
yeah.
that. But
Hmm.
why the disconnect? Now you've been married 35 years.
Yes.
What have you noticed in terms of the days when you and your wife got together and where y'all are now and how y'all deal with each other compared to what you're observing with my generation or those who are younger than me?
Well, I want to share with the audience this. Okay, me and my wife, we met and we was old school dating. The fact was that we talked on the phone for a couple of months before we had our first date. So then we had our first date, and then what we did, we started dating for maybe going out maybe for a month, and so she decided to say, you know what, let's live together. And I'm like, okay. But I had different plans for that. Okay. I wanted to get married. Okay. You were
You
the
didn't
sister.
want to share.
No, I didn't. No, 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 no. But, but we did do it for about a month. And so one morning I woke up. I said, you know what? Honey, I said, this is not working for me. I said, we need to be married. I said, because I don't believe in shacking. Okay. So the difference, I think it is the mindset. I think the difference is how the sisters today have gotten hoodwinked in terms of how a family should be run. And what I mean by that, okay, is the fact that when you look at corporate structure and you look at structure, especially in corporations, you may see the fact that there's a CEO, there's a president, vice president. So we can go out and work for all these corporations, but guess what? Why don't we take structure and build our own in our household? Okay,
All
because
right.
now because what we do is the fact that we'll take all of the BS on the job, okay, from what type of people, okay, from our bosses. But then when we go home to our husbands, guess what? We are very disrespectful. So I'm saying, okay, what's up with that? Okay, here you go. You said I do, okay, in front of Almighty God, okay, in front of other witnesses. Now you come home, with this masculine energy, and all of a sudden, there you want to be the boss. So,
So masculine energy. That's a conversation that's happening all over the internet.
mhm, mhm.
Masculine energy. Now, mind you now, ladies, I'm here. If you want to jump in and you have a comment, you wanna go ahead and bring the female voice into this. I am here to mediate. We are having a family conversation. We're not here to beat up on the ladies. We are taking some perspective and some insight from a brother who cares about our people. He cares about our community. So if you want to bring your voice in, I can't handle it from the chat because of who I am, but I can pick up the phone. If you can call me at 678-210-8778, we'll get on the phone and we'll hear your voice so we can kind of mediate the positions. But Brother Muhammad, masculine energy. What
Oof.
are we talking about? What are the brothers talking about when they say masculine energy?
Masculine energy is the fact that now the woman want to be more or less I would say the mentality of a man, okay, in terms of I can do this, I can do that. Yeah, you can, okay, to a certain point, okay. But again, when you look at structure and you look at how certain things are structured, how are you going to deal with certain issues instead of coming at me, balling your fists up, giving me the eye, and me yelling back and forth at me? We're not going to deal with any issues, okay? And I look at that, as part of the masculine energy, and also the fact is that I see how you begin to treat black men. A good example. Let's take the Fulton County Jail instance, okay, where you are having black females talking to black men any old type of way. Now, mind you, this is serious, okay? This is serious stuff here, what I'm about to say. Now, mind you, sisters who working at those jails and all these penal institutions, these are same with some of the same brothers that you grew up with, who maybe gave your mama some sugar from their house, maybe some flour, what have you, okay? Maybe gave you a ride in their vehicle. So what's up with that? Okay. And when you look at the whole world, it's no society that would, especially females, would do something like that to their men. I mean, think about that. Okay. You want to work in a penal system that's geared, okay, to keep us in a certain position. And what you're doing, you're advocating for that.
Now let me
That's
ask you
serious
this.
stuff. That's
Let,
serious stuff.
let me
I
ask
mean,
you this.
not only that, when you look at the judges who sit across that bench, also, okay, sister. Now, what you're going to do, you're going to incarcerate that brother. Now, that same case back in the day, okay, if I got caught with an ounce of marijuana versus a white boy, who's going to get the most time?
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, right? Let's
Okay.
talk about the system because you and I, we both know and understand what happened to the Black community with respect to the welfare programs of the 60s and 70s,
Yes.
right? What did
Yes.
that do? What type of systemic setup was that? Because for me, from my standpoint, I'm hearing what you're saying. I look at you and I esteem you as an elder. When I look and I listen to my brothers who are out here struggling with their relationships with women that look like me and who have the same, kind of experience as I do, I'm looking and I'm like, wait a minute, we are being used. And you just pointed out a serious systemic issue, Brother Muhammad. And that systemic issue is putting the Black woman in a position where we don't need you.
Mhm,
We
mhm,
don't need you, right?
mhm, mhm,
So
mhm,
when it came to the welfare program, Mr. Uncle Sam, I'm going to give you some food for your kids. I'm going to give you
mhm,
some cash for your kids. But in
mhm,
order for you to get this, you cannot have him in the house, right?
mhm, mhm,
And at the same time, we as a system, we are going to give you more opportunity so that
mhm,
you can make more money. And then you're giving him the side eye because what do you need him for? Putting
mhm.
putting our men in a position where you're kind of like not having the same exact economic opportunities as the women in the community. What are your thoughts about that as an example of systemically putting Black women and Black men at odds? You mentioned the prisons, and I'm saying, hey, is that any different than the welfare setup?
I would say the fact that it's got different layers to that. Okay, and I do agree with you. A lot of things that you just so elegantly stated, and it's it's on the level, and I think it's a deep level. Okay, in terms of what is the cause, or I was what is the thinking behind the setup to put us in that position. I still believe the fact that in that position and in the setup is set up, okay, to destroy the black family. I'm gonna give you some statistics here, okay, and as you know, okay, now, and look, sisters, I don't want you to get upset with me now, okay, these just the facts.
You
Since
talking to me, or you talking to all of us? Because look,
I'm talking to the audience, okay, pretty much, okay.
yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna listen with our intellect and not with our feelings because
That is correct.
that's where we've stepped into the trap.
Yes. Okay. Now, when the 1973 Roe versus Wade, okay, Supreme Court ruling, okay, and when you look at what happened until now, African American females have committed over 19 million abortions. 19 million. 19 million. People, that many people don't die in a war. Okay, so when you look at those statistics and you look at one of the first um, the one of the first abortion clinics that was set up in the black community in New York, Brooklyn, New York. Okay, so why is that? So when you do the research on that, you'll find that the person who started those clinics didn't like black people. Okay, so my question then is, why would we put ourselves in a position to accept what they're telling us? Now, here go another statistic. Okay, now when you look at the women own nearly 2/3 of the American student debt. Okay, despite rolling into higher education, how many people come on there and say, "Well, we doing this. I got a PhD." Da, da, da. Matter of fact, my wife has a PhD also. Okay, now, but she didn't divorce me when she got a PhD. She still stayed with me.
Oh, 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 we gonna have to go back into that one because
Yeah, okay,
that
but
was a little edge on you bringing that up.
of course, of course, of course. Okay. Now, when you look at the highest debt ratio of black females owe the most student debt than any nationality in the country. Okay, so
Oh,
what I'm saying, okay, so let's be thinkers and saying, how do we look at our finances? See, because corporate America, when you have the breakdown in terms of corporate structure, bonds, stocks, treasury stocks, what type of interest I'm getting on my money. Okay, that's how they think. Okay, but we don't do that. We'll stick our chests out with debt and we'll say, well, I got a PhD. So now you want to deal with that brother, okay, coming in. And I heard a lot of females say, well, hey, where all the good men at? But you got to understand, sister, the fact that when I come into a relationship, when I'm looking at all of that debt that you have, and most likely a lot of times too, and I love kids, okay, because I've fostered over so many kids now in so far this year too also. But anyway, my point is, okay, is the fact that when you look at all of that debt, then you're probably looking at other kids that maybe you may have outside of that marriage. Then you say, well, I want a high value man. Really? Really?
So,
And then
so
you,
what is that? Like, what is a high value man? Like, what is all this terminology? I am so lost right now in all this stuff.
well, a lot of times, what they mean by high value man, what my understanding is the fact that they have to make a certain amount of money. Okay, that's the first thing they look at. Okay, they don't look at the high value man in terms of his character. Okay, or how consistent he is in terms of living his life a certain way. So they
So,
look
what
at
you
high
saying
value.
is you want a man who has a high value dollar sign, let's say
Yes,
the starting point, but you coming in the negative.
yes,
Okay, so you're doing a balance sheet analysis
yes,
with.
exactly, exactly. Remember now. Remember you said I have 2 degrees. One is criminal justice, and one is in accounting also. Okay, but that's a different story for another day. Okay, but they're AA degrees because I'm saying back in the day when I got mine, an AA degree was just like almost a PhD today. Okay, but my point is okay is the fact that are we really looking at hey dollars and cents or how we are going to structure a family? Now, when I was in Cairo, I'm looking at the Muslims there and their family structure. Even in Israel, they had a hierarchy, just like a corporation. And in that hierarchy, everybody knew their position. But see, in modern women today, they look at that in terms of something negative. No, it's not. Look, when my wife got married, she knew I was the main breadwinner. She knew her position. I'm not saying that in a negative sense. No, ladies, please don't take that in a negative sense. Okay. I'm saying in terms of, okay, how can I support my husband? What things that he need to do? Okay. He's coming home. He's turning over his paycheck. Okay. It's the hours that he put in to make sure, hey, our family survive.
You gave her your whole check?
Yes, most of the time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because you
Because
know that's what we all want, right? We still want it. We're like, even though we have our own money, we still want him to give us his
yeah,
whole
yeah, yeah.
check.
I know. I know.
So you
I know.
don't set us up to want. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Mhm. But but I knew the fact that she was going to take care of business. Okay, I knew the fact that hey, when I came home at certain times, I need my uniforms done. They was pressed and hung up in the closet. Okay, that's all I had to do was just put them on. Okay, I knew hey, dinner was at a certain time. I knew that we had a space set up for quiet time. And so what I'm saying, when you follow a hierarchy, these are the things that must be done in terms of, I believe, to have a successful marriage. I ain't saying relationship, okay, marriage, okay, husband and wife. I'm gonna make that clear,
Well, let
okay.
me ask you this, brother Muhammad. Let me ask you
Okay.
this, because when you said your clothes was ironed, it triggered a trauma in me, right? So
Okay.
I want to
Mm-hmm.
unpack this for the working women.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like you were working outside of the house. Was your wife at home, or was she also working outside of the house?
She was home.
She was home.
Yes.
So for her to help with things like ironing your clothes, that was just kind of a part of her day when it came to the time that she had to do stuff like that.
Yes.
So if we wanted to kind of like extend what this concept about your corporate family structure, and I think I really appreciate that, that you're talking about, you the president, she the vice president, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when you're looking at the way that they have us set up now, where our families really can't survive, most of us, without both of us going out and working. So in the context of a woman that's also working outside the house full time,
Mm-hmm.
what if she can't iron the clothes? Or what if she's like me and they don't love me for my cooking?
Okay.
I
Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
what would be your advice to one of your daughters, who's having to work full time and not at home all day to help in that capacity? What way would you kind of advise her to support her husband from that president, vice president standpoint that you're illustrating from your example with your wife?
That's got a lot of layers to it because there's a lot to unpack here. Okay. Okay. First of all, let me see. I would say the fact that I understand, where how certain things are set up today. Now, when we really begin to analyze it and look at it, I would say what is your motives? Number one, how do you want to get to the end product? Number two, what are you going to do in terms of once you start working on those concepts? And are you going to have, or do you have the discipline to carry it out? Now, I look at certain things you mean in this perspective is the fact that for me to have a balanced household, what do I need to do? And that is the fact that, okay, there's a weakness in this area over here. Okay. It's a hypothetical, say cooking. Okay. I will come to the wife and say, you know what? What can we do to make it better? Give me some ideas. Let's talk about it. Okay. I understand. Okay. Because see, that doesn't take away from your character. It doesn't take away from the love that I have for you. Okay. But hey, I need everything to be more balanced and comfortable for you as well as me. Okay. So now let's say that you may have to go down the street or, I don't know, take cooking lessons if necessary, if that doesn't suit. Okay. Guess what? Maybe we could get somebody to bring something in. You know what I mean? To make sure that we have good, healthy meals. So what I'm saying, okay, that's just some
So
examples.
it looks like you have some consensus from the comments. Sister Nayazeki said, "My husband and I separate chores based on strengths and weaknesses, likes and dislikes. He cooks, I do dishes. He washes laundry, I fold it." And
Okay.
so, what I'm hearing you say is that you, as the president of the family corporation, you call a board meeting about
Hmm.
what we need as a family. And then you're having this conversation about how we're going to meet the needs of our family. And I think I'm loving that you're talking about this from a corporate structure. But go ahead.
Yeah, and you know, and so when I'm looking at the one comment also, okay, and that's how I do agree with the person who made that comment, okay, because it's due to the fact that guess what? Again, we look at hey how we make things work, okay, because see in our body, the eyes are for seeing, our heart is for pumping blood, our legs and feet are for walking. And so we got to look at that, you know, in the context of, hey, you know what, this household is a body. So what do we need to do in terms of to make it run, walk, and be comfortable? Okay. And so that's how I attack certain things. Okay. And I
So
tell you,
you're not saying that women should be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen.
no, no, by no means. No, 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 no.
Now,
Now,
now, do you do any of the cooking, Brother Muhammad?
I do. I'm a very good cook because I come from a family of three. Okay, my mom's never worked a day in her life. My dad was the main breadwinner, and I can still remember as a little baby by my mom's side. She said, "Come over here, boy. Let me show you how to cook." And she used to always say this because one day you never know, you might have to do it on your own. Okay, and I sit there and I watched. You know what I mean? You know, one of the main things she used to make us do was make biscuits from scratch.
Those are the best ones. Those are the best ones. Okay, well,
And
but that's fair though, because one of the things that I think that okay, so I've heard it, I've heard this said, and I want to ask for your commentary on this. I've heard this said that during a time where you and your wife met each other and y'all committed your lives to one another, Black men and Black women work together, and that the idea of feminism came to the Black woman from outside of our community. That women outside of our community were being oppressed by their men. That necessarily wasn't the case most of the time when you talked about the dynamic between Black men and Black women. So this whole idea of, he's holding you down, he's keeping you barefoot and pregnant, that wasn't something that originated within our community. What would be your response to that?
I agree with you 100%, okay? Because when you know we put our eyes on the color purple, okay? Uh, 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 um, but again, that that did not happen in my community, okay? Especially as a young boy growing up, I've seen the fact that my we have a church. I'm getting to a point. We have a church in the South Carolina area. Okay, that church is over 100 years old. Okay, so they used to come together. Okay, in terms of making sure that certain things was operating. Okay, I never ever seen in my family structure. okay, where women was getting beat. Okay, and so when I go back again, looking at what I have done and created, my wife, when she wanted to say, you know what, I want to go to school and I want to get a degree, I supported that. Okay, through my benefits, you know, I was working at. So she went on and got the PhD. But my whole point is, okay, is the fact that your females, what type of men you're choosing. What do you have the ability in terms of knowing, hey, what man you're choosing? So I look at that also, okay, when you look at the negative part that people say happening in our community, what type of choices are you making? So don't, when you make the choice, it takes two to tangle. Don't just blame it on one person or the other. Okay. It's a it's a equal amount of responsibility that happened, okay, in the community. Because when you look at the statistics again, when you look at how we used to be married in our communities versus today, and so I believe the fact that feminism crept in, okay, even in the church today, where they're telling you again, hey, you know what, you can do what you want to do. Really? So look at the outcome of that.
Now, you mentioned feminism coming into the church. Now, I met a lady who was married to her husband for more than 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
And she shared with me that she was called to ministry during this time where you didn't see women in pulpits.
Mm-hmm.
And that there was a lot of like strain, between her and her husband as she was doing what she thought was answering the call on her life. Do you have any thoughts when it comes to women in leadership outside of the home?
Ooh, okay, that's a sort of a tricky question. My lights just went out, but anyway, you still can see me. Uh, 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 um, because the lights on a timer.
Uh-huh.
When you ask that question in terms of leadership, ooh, that's a tricky question. Okay, because the fact of the matter is that if that woman, in terms of saying she wanted to go into ministry, and she's saying, "Well, I've been called." Two things here. First, over in Cairo, especially in the Muslim community, they separate the men from the women. Okay, hierarchy. Uh, 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 um, so when you look at certain things that how it was taught, you know, in your scriptures, because you could even go in Timothy. I don't have wish I have my the Bible with me. I think it's in Timothy, 2 Timothy 2:14. I think it is. Okay, or it might be First Timothy 2:14. It says that I do not exert a woman to take authority over the man. Okay. And so what I'm saying, okay, when we go back to the original language of that, okay, and we look at the culture of how that scripture was written and why it was written, okay, it was a separation in terms of women did certain things where they could not take a position in terms of, especially in the church hierarchy. Okay, even the Catholic Church was doing that for years until they changed a little bit. Okay, so my point is, okay, is the fact that if you want to go into the ministry as a woman and you begin to see if that is destroying your family structure, now the question should be asked: what are you doing in terms? Or let me rephrase this: is it you and your ego? Do you want to destroy your family structure because you feel that you need to do this ministry thing? Let me give you a good example of what happened to me with that. Okay, so it is the fact that then you have to make a choice. You have to make that choice in terms of saying, okay, am I going to keep certain things together, or I'm going to step outside of this realm and cause problems and issues. Now, when we moved to Georgia, me and my wife, we had a house that was worth $500,000. Now today, that same house is worth over 700,000. So we sold the house, okay, because she wanted to move to Georgia, and I was sort of against it. But I'm saying, okay, I'm going to show you something. I'm up in age now, you know what I mean? So I'm going to show you something, okay, in terms of how when you break that hierarchy, she did that. Okay, we sold it. Came to Georgia, moved to Smyrna, paying $1,600, 1,900, somewhere between $1,600 to $1,900 a month for the rent. But yet, though, over here you had stationary, and you didn't have to worry about that. Okay, but again, was it ego? I mean, we talked about this. Was it your ego? Was it your desire and belief that, hey, you know what, because you got the PhD, that now you wanted to start your own private practice?
Okay,
So
so now so you say she broke the hierarchy.
yes,
Be-
yes.
so unpack that. Was that you said you didn't think it was a good idea, and she was like, "No, I disagree." Like, what? Where did the hierarchy get broken in your mind?
When it began to be a conflict in the house, okay, when it became to the point where attitudes were beginning to develop, okay, and I'm saying the negative attitudes, okay, begin to be a strain in terms of the relationship and family members that was still there. Okay, got
So
two
when she didn't get what she wanted, she made you pay for it.
in some sense, okay. But let me say this much, okay. I believe in balance, meaning the fact that I still have the balance and I can outweigh all of those, okay. Meaning the fact that it came down with me, my attitude. It came down to the point where, okay, you know what? I'm good with me, okay. So I'm removing myself out of it, okay, and looking at it in terms of a learning lesson for you, okay, because financially we was okay, okay, and so down the road I knew that, again, visionary, okay, down the road I knew the fact that you were going to run into some difficulties, but look, 'cause I've been with you for so long, okay, I know you, okay, as well as you know me, okay,
It
so
sounds like that whole "I'm going to let this blow up on you. I'm gonna move out the way." What is this that men do? I want to understand.
mhm.
What is that point with you men where your wife does not agree with you, but there's like this place where you just like, you know what? I'm gonna let you have it. What is how does that work? What do we need to understand about that mechanism in your mind? Because I'm hearing you say she broke the hierarchy. And then I'm hearing you say, but I knew she was gonna have some hardship with it. So it's almost like if I can't tell you, if you don't want to hear me protecting you, if you don't want to hear me warning you, if you don't want to hear me providing for you, go ahead. Is that what happened in your mind?
It, that is correct. That is correct. Okay. And this is where, when you begin to reach out outside of that hierarchy, you begin to reach out and you begin to get other people's opinions. Okay. Let's say feminism, for instance. Okay. Saying the fact that, hey, go ahead and do your own thing. Okay. Because, you know, you're entitled to this. So then you begin to bring in other mind concepts or other people ideas. Okay. And a lot of times, you know, that can affect your relationship. Okay, instead of sticking to what you know have worked. Okay, so at these moments, you have to be very, very careful in terms of the thinking process. And so that went on for, you know, for a while. Okay, but as you see, I was able financially to overcome it. A lot of people would not have been able financially to overcome that. Okay, so now when you look at the destruction of that, you're going to have some more problems. Divorces may happen.
Did you
Okay,
tell her I told you so? Did she ever come
no,
back?
no, no. Okay,
Did she ever
I
acknowledge it?
I said to her, you know what? We had difficulties. We, okay, because I could have done certain things, you know what I mean, in terms of breaking the hierarchy myself or breaking the principles in terms of what kept us together. I said okay, we had some issues with this, okay, and I said not only that, I said the good thing about it is the fact that we was financially able to overcome it. And I
Now
tell you, you know,
let
I
me
was
post something to you.
okay.
A lot of times when I'm talking to women who are in disagreement with their husband, my counsel to them is to defer to what he's saying, even if she believes he's wrong. Because ultimately, the consequence of that choice is going to fall on him.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts about that?
That is absolutely correct. Okay, and where I don't know the makeup of a woman because I'm not a woman. Okay, but I can say this much, in terms of the mindset, okay, of people, is the fact that a lot of times people don't want to take the responsibility in terms of, okay, I made this decision, okay, and I made a wrong decision, okay. But one powerful thing you said, consequences. Yeah, there are consequences in everything we do, bad, good, or indifferent. And sometimes those consequences could be so devastating you can't recoup from those things. It may take years even to recoup from that. Now I tell
What
you
would
what
be a
happened.
good way? What would be a good way for a woman who she will? Okay, she says, "All right, Brother Muhammad is right. We got a corporation. He's the president, and I'm the vice president. Like he's not, he's not a lord over me. He's not a ruler over me. But I respect that he is leading and guiding our corporation, and I'm assisting him and I'm supporting him for the interest of our corporation. And again, I'm really loving the corporation model that you kind of put out here.
Mm-hmm.
But the president is making a decision, or the president is taking us in a direction that I strongly disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
In your mind, what is a good way for a vice president to appeal to the president? uh
Mm-hmm.
that this is a strong, like I'm strongly in disagreement. What do you believe is the best way for a woman, a wife, to move forward in terms of being heard or being considered or reconsidered by her husband?
Now, what I did, okay, I speak for myself from personal experience. When I looked at the two girls that we have, and of course, I told you before, we adopted those two girls because we didn't want to put them back in the system. Okay, got my name and all. But anyway, I looked at them. I looked at the family structure, and I said to her, okay, your decision, how is it going to affect everything around you? How's it going to affect these kids also? So it's just not about you anymore. Okay. It's about the whole. And one person is not greater than the whole. So you have to understand the fact that this decision that's going to be made is going to uproot some things. So how would you put it back together? And what I did when I looked at those two girls one day, they were asleep. I went in the room, I just sit there and just looked. And I said, you know what? They're depending on me to make a strong decision for their life. I mean, that's serious stuff, okay? Because even when we are traveling down the road, I'm driving, they put all of their trust in me, as well as the wife, okay? So when I put all of that together in terms of the trust factor, in terms of looking out for the good of everyone, and you make a decision, you better be damn tootin' right that you're right. Because I'm telling you, hey, the consequences is not going to be good if you fail at it. So why would we look? Why reinvent the wheel? Why? See, and then it gets to a mindset, in terms of, is this my ego? Is this my desire? See, all desires are not good. Okay, because that same man who, I'm using men, I'm jumping in the minute a little bit, okay, who have a desire to sleep with another woman outside of his relationship or his marriage. Okay, I got a desire, and people can justify that. Okay, because wife made me mad. She didn't cook this right. She didn't cook. She didn't do the laundry, or you know what? She came home late from her job. You see what I'm saying? The justification, which you can't justify it. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying, do we have the ability in terms of to looking at that and saying, you know what? Let me pray on this. Let me really analyze this and look at it for the mistake that's about to happen, or my decision, how is it going to affect everything? Because if you put yourself just there for you, it might be good for you, but it's good for the whole. So when you look at feminism basically is saying, okay, make your decision what's going to be best for you. So you go out, you're looking at, again, no harm, okay, just the facts, over 19 million abortions. So you made, I'm not saying, I'm just hypothetical, okay? You made a decision in terms of to abort that baby because guess what? I don't want this to hold me down. I can go to school, get my college degree, I can do this and that and the other. Then I look at all this debt that I have. They don't see the debt part, or they're just seeing the glamour part of it. Okay. So what? Guess what? I want to be free.
So,
Okay.
Brother Muhammad, you're talking
Yes.
about 19 million dead babies,
Yes.
low marriage rate. Did you even touch on
Yes.
the percentage of marriages in the community right now?
You know what, sister? I think I shared with you that one morning, and when you look at only 26% of our women will be married, you looked at all that abortion. One point in time in New York City, they had an African American community. They had more abortions than births. So what I'm looking at that, okay, how do we survive? Now, this
That
is the
was my
honest.
next question to you. How
Okay,
do we
now this
survive, Brother Muhammad?
now before I answer that question, let me say this much to you. And please, audience, sit down and listen. I was walking one day in this business, and the was a white guy. You know, he was a president of this particular company. He called me into the office. He said, you know, Mister Zadada, you know, come into the office. He said, seems like you're a very intelligent man, and he said, I want to ask you a question. I said, okay. I said, what is your question? He said, what is the greatest threat to the African American community? So I answered the question with the question. I said, well, what do you mean? So he said, when you look at the abortion rate, what's happening in your community, he asked the same question you did. How did you survive this? And I tell you, that upset me for 3 days. I mean, I was just out of it. One point is the fact that they study the statistics. We have to bring that up. Number two, the statistics one day is going to be taught in universities. They're going to look at that. Number three, when you look at the incarceration rate, and they're going to see black women controlling black men in jail. That's serious stuff. Okay, this is going to be studied by social scientists, people with PhDs, and what they're going to tell their people. We're not going to do that. When you look at other countries, Germany, Great Britain, they're going to study this. Okay, social scientists. And so my point is, okay, I was so upset. And I'm like, my gosh, what's going on here? And so I calmed down because what was revealed to me saying, you know what, let it play out. We have to let it play out. Okay, because I can't, we're not going to change some of these people's minds. And so another thing too, I wanted to share with you, sister, that is the fact that the reason why me and you and other people like us connect, because we have the same spirit. So one brother told me, he said, well, brother, he said, well, when y'all pass away, what's going to happen with the information? I said, brother, I said, this information is always going to be there. I said, when one go, Almighty God in the universe, give it to somebody else. I said, because it's eternal. I said, not only that, I said, when you look at everything that has a beginning and that has an end, it's not eternal. But when you have things that has no beginning and no end, it's eternal. Certain principles, gravity is eternal. I mean, jump off the building and see what's happening.
Right. So the biggest thing in terms of this circle, right, of our relationship with one another as men and women, it always boils down to communication. What is the biggest challenge you have communicating with black women in your own family, your wife, your daughters, black women in the workplace? What would you say is the biggest challenge communicating with us?
Getting past the mindset of the, getting past the concepts that's in their mind that has been put there for a negative outcome. And so that's one of the biggest things that I have to deal with. So I have to sit there, you know, I had to ponder on it. I have to challenge it, not in a negative way, but, you know, in a positive way. Okay. And so, well, maybe we could look at it like this. Maybe we could look at it like that. So let me tell me what you're thinking. And then from there, I move on.
So
Okay.
we as black women, we're not expecting the best outcomes.
I would say you expecting the best outcome in a negative connotation. Okay, because when you look at the numbers in itself, we are expecting, let's say, for example, high value man. Okay, we're expecting to walk into a situation, getting this particular man that we want to marry, this and that and the other. Okay, but are we really looking at ourselves in terms of, are we bringing any negative energy into that relationship?
So
Okay,
we should be asking ourselves, am I a high value woman? What is a high value woman?
for me personally, one that's understanding, one that's feminine. See, you can be feminine and be a boss also, okay? But you can't. I don't think the fact that being a boss does not should not take away your femininity, okay? So to answer your question, for the high value woman, I think moral values is very important to me. Okay, me personally. Okay, but we could sit down without screaming at one another, but we could sit down and talk to one another in decency and with respect. Okay, see, look, I don't care about your money. I really don't. Okay, because the fact of the matter is that I'm okay. Okay, so that money does not make me in terms of, hey, I got to have this person, woman, or that. She got to make this some type of money. No, I want you to understand, hey, guess what? How we are going to work together and to build what we need to build.
Now, I want to circle back to what you said about you don't have to lose your femininity because you're a boss woman. That's big. And I know that you have some personal experience with that. And I'd love for you to unpack that a little bit more. A boss woman who is not feminine in her boss role. Can you share some of your
Okay,
insights on that?
okay. When I look at it, in terms of a boss woman, okay, someone who's over me, okay, in terms of the workplace, okay, well, I would say over me, but have a position in the hierarchy that I must respect. Number one, I respect the position. Okay. Number two, I respect the person when they give me the the energy in terms of for me to respect that. Okay, because as you know, I'm not going to lose train of thought. As you know, working there at that one particular place, the one woman who came there, she was in charge of the whole security department of the building. You remember I said I told her I could not work for you. Okay, but let's say that when you have an effeminate quality in terms of about yourself, meaning the fact that if I came, person came up to me and say, you know what, can you please do this? You mean how are you looking at this, or you know what, maybe we can do this, or we need this done. It's a difference if I say to you, we need this done, versus I say, you know what, Char, hey, we really need this done. So could you please make sure that, hey, this is get done properly. You see,
So
it's the tone
that
also.
that's one of the things that I feel like I'm always learning about speaking with men is to speak with you more in a question than in a demand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, is that accurate? Like if I'm asking you a question versus telling you what to do, is that what resonates with the male mind as a respectful conversation from
I think
a
so. I
woman?
think so. I think so. I think it's a double-edged sword, meaning the fact that it's really the delivery of it. Okay, because remember when we first met, and I looked and we was talking, and I said, hey, since I said you got it going on, something to that, okay. But you knew the fact that, hey, I wasn't trying to come on to you. So let's say if I say, hey, sister, you got it going on. You know what I mean? Or I'm coming at you in a different tone. Uh, um, that could upset the apple cart somewhat. So I'm saying, me, the femininity in terms of how it's presented. Okay. Today, I had something, that was going on, and the lady came to me. She said, "Thank you, hon." You see what I'm saying? Okay, that resonated. that resonated with me, okay? Because due to the fact that by that being resonating with me, how she did the delivery, okay? Thank you, hon. Okay, instead of saying thank you, you see.
So we should be considering our tone. You know, I
Yes,
just
your
want to kind
tone.
of, I want to speak on behalf of the ladies right now because not all of us grew up in a home where we saw a woman interacting with a man in a healthy and in a respectful way. Not all of us had that experience. You know, many of us
Hmm.
came up in situations where if there was a man in the home, maybe, you know, the
Hmm.
communication
Hmm.
dynamic was disrespectful in both
Hmm.
directions. And so I hear men talk about tone all the time. And I personally am one of those women that struggle with understanding, okay, what do you mean? Because there's tone, there's timing, there's, you
Hmm.
know, the way that we ask the question. And so sometimes to a woman, it feels like, okay, it's a whole laundry list. I don't even know what to say. I'm just going to stop talking. You know,
Hmm.
there's a frustration point in understanding, you know, that whole package. And I just kind of want to give voice to that right now because, yes, there is that one method you're saying, yes, try asking the question instead of being demanding. And then there's also the way you package it, you know, watch your tone. And another brother had told me, he, you know, because I was like, okay, and then she can't come to you if you watching the game. That's not the time for her to have a
Hmm.
conversation
Hmm. Hmm.
with you.
Hmm.
So now
Hmm.
you got timing, right? So I just
Hmm.
kind of want to put that out there to the ladies. Like, if you are struggling or kind of feeling frustrated, like I don't know what to say and when to say it to them, I think that's something common to all of us if we haven't really seen that modeled out by other
Hmm.
women in our space. And
Hmm.
I think it's okay that we continue to kind of like figure that out, find the right tone, find the right question, find the right timing that works for your man where he feels like you're respecting him. Because respect, I mean, is there any kind of universal how to respect a man rule? You know, like how do you respect a man? Like what will be the universal respect code?
I think one of the things, and I'm not trying to skip around the question that you're asking, but what really stuck out in my mind is the fact that if you are not sure, ask the person. Say, you know what, how can I make it better? Okay, now me being one of the supervisor, I used to always go to my team and say, you know what, how can I make this job easier for you? Now, you know, you had women, I had guys also. Okay, so it was like, you know what, if you have any doubt, make a question of that. So far as in terms of a universal principle, I could not really answer that, but I would say this much, okay, is the fact that sometimes it's a learned behavior, okay, and understanding. And this is why I went on my journey, okay, in terms of visiting other countries, okay. It was because I was trying to make myself better. And so my point with that is the fact that what did I need to learn in terms of to function as the man that I want to be? Okay, so I think the fact that maybe the women could ask themselves again. I'm not a woman, okay, but just throwing this out. Maybe ask yourself the question in terms of what do I need to do to be this better wife or be a better communicator, okay, to my husband or to the guy that I'm dating.
The
And then if
light
you
bulb
don't,
literally just went off. I
okay,
I
and
I, I
sometimes,
I have to point out this light bulb moment. A few moments ago, you said that one of the biggest challenges speaking to Black women is our negative expectation. And just now, in response to my question, you said, if you're not sure, ask a question, right?
mm-hmm,
But in between those two conversations is what's happening in our minds about what to expect. We're already answering the question a lot of times in the negative
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
concerning what he's thinking, what he's intending, what he will and will not do. We're answering the question. The question doesn't even exist for us because we've already filled in the blank. And I'm
mm-hmm.
I'm owning that because I'm like sitting
Mhm,
up here,
mhm,
like, ask a question, ask a question.
mhm,
And that's something that this isn't the first time I'm hearing that.
mhm,
And going back to what you just said about the negative expectations of Black women, what are we thinking? How do we see our men? Do we see you in a good light? Do we see you wanting to do right by us?
mhm,
Do we see you wanting to take care of us, wanting to
mhm,
protect us, wanting
mhm,
to make sure that we're good? And
mhm,
I don't know that we always assume that. I don't think that we're asking you the questions because we don't have that expectation. Someone
mhm,
has
mhm,
poisoned us in our mindset to protect ourselves from our own men.
mhm, mhm,
So
mhm.
why would I ask you a question expecting any good if I've already been programmed that you ain't no good?
Deep question. Okay, when you was speaking, I'm thinking, you know what I mean, and you did one of these numbers here, and I began to think about Sigmund Freud. Okay, the duality that he talked about. Now, matter of fact, he was Hindu, but anyway, okay, they try to hide that. Okay, the duality in terms of our thinking process. How do we begin to understand our thinking process? Can we go behind the curtain in terms of the first thought process that we may have? Meaning, okay, looking at someone, well, this person is that, not that. You might not even know that person. Okay, like I said, I'm sitting at that desk when they walk by. You're not speaking to me. You don't know me. You don't know who I am. Okay, do you have the mental agility or the mental gymnastics to say to yourself, okay, I got this particular thought. How do I counter that thought in terms of to reach the real concept of who this person is, or maybe ask that person that question? It's an art to that. Okay. And so that's why I went around to understand, okay, who is James? What do I need to do? Okay. Do I need mentors? Yes, I did. Okay. And some of the mentors that I have had took me almost 30 years sometimes to catch up to what they were saying. So my point is, okay, is the fact that we can go to school, we get all these concepts in terms of education, we get in all these concepts, especially in business, buy low, sell high, no matter the cost. But my point is, okay, who are you? Can you get past that concept in terms of the thinking process that bringing on negativity in your life? So how are you going to combat that in terms of the thinking process?
So what is a
That's
man to do?
a man to do.
What is a man to do when he has been taught to believe happy wife, happy life?
He have to analyze that for
Doesn't
himself.
he want to please her?
Yes, but in that concept of trying to please her, how is he going to feel? What's going to make good example? God worked with one time. His wife wanted these pearl necklace, and he was saying, "Man, the price that she want me to have them, I just can't afford it." Okay, so they got into a big argument about this and that and the other. You see what I'm saying? So just because you pleased her, you went into a certain amount of debt. Now you feeling all some way about yourself. So my point is, okay, is the fact that it's going to take two, okay, in terms of the pleasure or hey, how are you going to make me feel? So it's not just about in terms of just giving you everything you want. Okay, you got
Now, why not? Why not give your wife everything she wants?
because again, when you look at the hierarchy, it can cause a problem.
So,
Okay.
well, okay, so you pulling rank though. Okay, you
Yeah,
look at
yeah,
the
yeah. And sometimes you have to.
hierarchy.
Okay, sometimes you have to.
Okay, sometimes you have to
Okay.
pull rank.
Yes, yes. Okay, for the good outcome. Okay, meaning the fact that oh Lord, look what the $500,000 house. Okay, I'm giving you what you want. I'm still feeling some type of way about it. Okay. So now
Right.
I got to go and do mental gymnastics in terms of my thought process to rationalize or have some type of realization. I don't even say realization, but to have some type of rationale in terms of making me feel better. Say, okay, deep down inside, knowing the fact the outcome is what's going to happen. And so, what I'm saying, okay, is the fact that it's not that you can have everything. It doesn't work that way. Okay.
Now, I want to ask you a question. We talked about the way the ideal way for a woman to consider timing, tone, and delivery of
Yes.
her communication, right?
Hmm.
What about when a man pull rank? Is there a wrong way to pull rank? Or you
Yes,
just
it
get to pull
is.
rank how you want to pull rank?
No, it's a wrong way how to pull rank. Okay. I would
What's
sit
the
down.
wrong
Okay.
way?
Okay. Okay. Hypothetical. Hypothetical. Okay. I'm saying, okay, me and you are married. I would say, baby, come here, sit down. We need to talk about something. Okay, let's look at it this way. We'll analyze it, look at it. Okay. You don't have to make a decision right now on this, but think about it. Okay. So we could be all right with it. And I usually tell a lot of times, I'll tell the wife, hey, look, I don't need no answer right now. I need you to think about it. Okay. So then I will present the fact that, okay, look around you. Okay, you want to make this decision. How is it going to affect these girls? How is it going to affect the family structure? Okay, is it really just about you, your desires, your greeds, not your needs? Okay, so sometimes when I see it, look, if certain things was not paid for, I would not have made that move. Period. Okay, because at the end, again, we had enough money to overcome it.
Is it better for a man to pull rank the wrong way than to be resentful for not pulling rank?
Ooh, sometimes it might come to that point. Okay.
Because when I see now, you know they come to me for divorce, right? People come to me when
Yes,
they're threw in the towel, right?
yes.
So a lot of times, by the time they get here, I'm seeing men who did not pull rank extremely resentful
Hmm.
that they did not exercise their authority as the president in their family's corporation.
Hmm.
So would it be better for him to pull rank the wrong way or for him to just let her have it?
I would say, what type of outcome do you want? Okay. Sometimes people may look at it in terms of the wrong way or right way, but what is the outcome? Okay.
So if the
Uh,
outcome is going to be avoiding a disastrous consequence by pulling rank, even if you didn't do it the right way,
Sometimes, yes, exactly.
that result would justify maybe you didn't pull rank in a way that she could respect at the time, but later she might come to understand or respect that it was the right thing for you to pull rank.
That is correct. That is correct. Because remember, I said, okay, the one does not outweigh the whole. Okay. Because look, could I have taken my money and did certain things with it? Yes, I could have. Okay. And I could use my physicality also to do that. Okay. But I choose not to. I choose the fact that, hey, you know what? Let me remove James. Let me remove myself out of the way. Okay. Now, when I look at one of the happiest moments, and I still have these happy moments, it is the fact that when I go home, I see what we have accomplished. Seeing those girls sleep in a peaceful environment, seeing the wife sleeping in a peaceful environment, being happy, okay, because we understand the structure that we created and we must continue to do,
Ma-
okay. And I tell you that bring it's not tell any any brothers out there, once you get to that point, hey, guess what, everything is all right.
So, Mr. Muhammad, I'm gonna tell you something that I really appreciate you saying. And that was you not backing down on pulling rank. But I like the way you kind of like illustrated how you go about it. And I
Hmm.
think that is a very important conversation for us to have openly between men and women because a lot of men feel like their masculinity is being shoved into the closet. Like,
Mhm,
like look,
mhm,
that's toxic. Don't nobody want to hear that. You don't get to tell nobody what to do. You're not my
mhm,
daddy. All of that stuff that's going on in the hearts and mind and the culture. But I would love to see you kind of further develop that skill set when it comes to speaking into the lives of other husbands and men, and understanding, look, you don't need to feel no kind of way about it. You're the president. Like, that's the structure is the structure. When
mhm,
I'm talking to women, I'm talking about that being your God-given authority. Like, that's that it just is. Some things
mhm,
just are, and you put a period
mhm,
at the end of it and you be
mhm.
done with that. And so I would love to encourage you in that direction when it comes to the way that you're talking to men, because I I've never interacted with anyone in my work who did not back down on the idea of pulling rank, because it sounds so wrong. And I will be the
Mhm,
first to admit that when my husband pulls rank, I feel some type of way about it.
mhm, mhm,
Because
mhm,
nobody wants to be outranked. But
mhm.
at the end of the day, when you respect authority, it is what it is. And at the end of the day, like I tell women all the time, and I live by this: his call, his consequence. He
Mhm,
gonna have to
mhm,
answer to the Most High for the choice
mhm.
that he makes that impacts our house. So I can't thank you enough for this conversation. And hopefully we can do a round two someday.
Yes.
And continue this conversation. But I'd like to ask you a parting question, and that is, how do we build from here? As Black men and Black women, how do we build from here?
Something you said was very, very scholarly, very, very important, and that was a learned behavior, or you're saying, okay, a skill set. A skill set is taught. A skill set is learned, and in our community, we haven't been taught those things. And the fact of the matter is that it's nothing wrong for, even if you're 30, 40, 50 years old, have another brother or a sister, okay, say, hey, how do I overcome this? What do I need to do? Okay, because see, it's the layers in terms of men learn from men, women learn from women. Okay, so that structure. Okay, what can I learn from you? See, in my early age, my early years, I knew that, hey, you know what, let me go and find these people in terms of how they did certain things. And it'd be like, you know what, if I want to make $1 million, would you go ask a homeless person how to make $1 million? Of course not. Okay, so you have to be willing to accept and to deal with that teacher. Also, the fact of the matter is that we have so many things come at us. Okay, and we'll say, who's my mentor, or you know what, I got to get these Nike tennis shoes on. So many images are coming at us, okay, in our community, in terms of who we should be, what we should buy, and the things that we should do. You got to understand the whole scheme behind it.
And I appreciate that so much. And it sounds like the short answer to the question, happy wife, happy life, would be, please your wife until up until the point that it causes a detriment to the whole. And if she wants to be selfish in demanding her own happiness over the well-being of the corporation, pull rank on her.
Yes, yes. Hmm.
Brother
Hmm.
Muhammad, I want to thank you
Hmm.
so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we're going to just go ahead and wrap that up. Hey, family, thank you so much for joining us. It's really encouraging for y'all to join in and share your comments and just, share the word about this channel. Again, we're having these conversations. He say, she say, and we're like bringing it out in the open. We're having these conversations to each other about one another. Why? So that we can heal, so that we can build, and we can continue to move forward together. So on that note, family, Thank you so much. Thank you again, Brother Muhammad. You know how much I appreciate you.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
that, right?
Give,
They be
give me
they
a
be
call too.
sleeping on you out here.
Yeah. Give me a call. You have my number. Give me a call and let me know the response of what people have said about this particular segment.
Oh, absolutely. We'll definitely be getting some feedback. And we will stay in touch because I miss our conversations, the
Me too.
frequencies of
Me
our
too.
conversations,
Me
man.
too.
I wish that sister wasn't acting stupid with you, but I'm so thankful and I'm so appreciative for you. Not just from the perspective of a man, but from you are one of our elders.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that is what always made our community special.
Mm-hmm.
Our
Mm-hmm.
love and our adoration and our regard for our elders. And
Mm-hmm.
you sit in that place of authority to be able to speak over the next generation and say, hey, we have to do better. We can't survive if we stay on this path. And I
That's
think that
correct.
you saying that it's like we need to hear that. We need
Mm-hmm.
to hear that and we
Mm-hmm.
need to take it to heart because this is about the survival of our
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you
One
for
thing I want to add real quick before we wrap up, and that is the fact that 72 years old. Don't you think I've learned something being an African American male in this country?
in this country of all places.
Yes. Yes. I learned a thing or two. Thank you, sister.
We hear you loud and clear. Thank you so much, Brother Muhammad. Blessings to you
Thank you.
and love and peace to your family as well. And I look forward to connecting with you real soon.
Same to you. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.